Hey, what's up guys, Troy here, and welcome to episode 5 of Winning Ways. Today I wanted to bring you a video on the UMP-45. Now I apologize, I have my two nephews here, so if you hear some games playing in the background, they're playing. You guys want to give a shout out to YouTube, Max? Say hi.
Hi.
Max?
Hi.
Those are my two nephews here, future pro FPS players in the future. But anyways, back to the video. Now, I've seen the UMP-45 increase with popularity over the past few months. But I've seen people using it in pretty much the wrong form or fashion. And the result hasn't made it work in situations that it can normally be useful for. Now, since the two reasons for its popularity are pretty much the Armor Kill DLC patch in which the UMP-45 received a buff. Now, when I say buff, if you could see me, I actually made sarcastic hand quotes when I said it. In all truthfulness, the UMP-45 was not actually buffed, it was actually nerfed. While its max damage was increased to 34 damage points out to 8 meters, its minimum damage actually wasn't changed in that patch. So this so-called damage buff actually resulted in a damage drop-off nerf. This damage drop-off happens to be the worst in the entire game, of any weapon in any class. Now, I see people tend to use the UMP-45, and I tend to see people using the sound suppressor, which seems to be a quite popular attachment. I see also, I see a lot of people using not only this attachment and this setup, but this weapon in general on the wrong maps. Now, from the gameplay that I'm showcasing in today's vid is meant to show the strengths that can be achieved when actually using the UMP-45 correctly, which means the correct attachments on the correct maps. And this is Danya Fortress from the Close Quarters DLC. And if Lethal Moo is watching, keep your eyes in the chat box. Their discussion mentions the whole M870 slugs versus the SPOS 12 slugs. But anyway, the attachments I'm using are the laser sight and the American red dot sight. Now, when it comes to sights, I always tend to tell people, use whatever you're comfortable with as a player. I happen to enjoy using both the American red dot sight and the Cobra sights, depending on the rate of fire of the weapons. The only other attachment I'm using is a laser sight, and I believe this attachment is #1 essential to use on this weapon to really bolster the weapon's already exceptional hip fire. These two attachments are really all that's needed to be successful with this weapon on maps like these. I really don't see using these maps outside the Close Quarters DLC. You can maybe get away with it in Operation Metro, but even with the long sight lines, you're kind of pushing your luck with the success that you can achieve with this weapon. Now let's talk about the UMP-45's weaknesses. I've mentioned the drop-off earlier, and this, coupled with the slow rate of fire, are its two greatest detriments to the UMP-45. With a minimum damage of 12.5 out to 40 meters, means this gun just doesn't work when going against carbines or assault rifles on much larger maps with longer sight lines. It's an 8-bullet kill at those ranges. You know, because that drop-off damage, that one attachment that you absolutely never want to attach with this gun is the sound suppressor. The suppressor increases the overall damage drop-off, and it really bugs me when I see players using this because they're not going to be successful with this. I don't care how good of a shot you are. If you come up against people who stay out of your sight lines and stay out of your range and have a higher rate of fire, you're going to be outshot no matter what. The UMP-45 becomes a weapon that does 34 max damage, not out to 8 meters, but only out to 4 meters. You're cutting that damage drop-off in half. It's just ridiculous. This is basically taking the one advantage of the gun, if used in the right situations and the right maps, and basically just throwing it out the window. Now, not the right way to play with this gun, to this gun's strengths and its positive attributes, and leaves you basically playing only with this gun's weaknesses. So I really wanted to make this video as sort of a Battlefield 3 PSA. Do not use this on wide open combat style maps with long sight lines, with large areas that you have to cross. Do not use this with the suppressor. The beauty of the Close Quarters maps is that suppressors have really been nullified because you're not going to show up on the map without a suppressor if you're not on the same level as another player who hears your gun battle. You have to be on the same level when a map has first, second, and third floors to actually show up on the mini-map. So suppressors are really kind of a moot point in the close quarters maps. That coupled with the fact that they don't really have long sight lanes, with them maybe the exception of the scrapyard map has a few, you can really play to this weapon's strengths and just try not to get outshot by players who use a higher rate of fire weapon and players who purposely stay out of the UMP-45's effective range. If I'm playing on a large open map, 4 or 5 flag conquest style map, I'm purposely not gonna rush somebody with the UMP-45. I might get lucky with the fact that I'm most likely gonna have a high rate of fire weapon, but I really want to nullify their 34 max damage that their weapon can attain within 4 to 8 meters. So I try to stay purposely out of the range, use my accuracy and my high rate of fire against someone who has the UMP-45, and I'm going to win 9 times out of 10. That's just the advantages and disadvantages of this weapon, and I really wanted to bring kind of a winning ways episode to show you how to use it correctly and not use it. It seems to be quite popular to use this weapon incorrectly, and I've seen a lot of people who use it and do not have success with it. So hopefully in the future, you guys can use the weapon to its strengths. Do not play and get suckered in by these weaknesses that this gun has. But that's going to be it for this video, guys. I have more Battlefield 3 vids coming in the future. I've had quite a few connections issues with my ISP for the last 3 or 4 days. AT&T's been really a pain in the ass when it comes to just getting online, just even to check my friggin' email. So I do have plenty more Battlefield 3 vids coming, but I really appreciate you guys watching the rest of the video, and I hope this makes you a better player and a better teammate.
Medkit!